Greetings. Winning. What does it mean? It's a more complicated question than people give it credit for. Winning can mean a lot of things, right? Um, to a beggar, when you throw money at their face to mock them or ridicule them, uh, you just gave them money. That's winning to him. He recognizes that the job or the begging has its consequences, but in the end he needs to get some money. So when he begs and you throw money at his face to mock him, you still gave him money, right? That's a bad example or a low quality example. A lot of people in competitions, the fun part is that the winning conditions are defined, right? Like everything, you know, whoever gets A, B, C, and D done is the winner, and we all cheer for the skill required to achieve that. It's never been a healthy balance. There's no such thing as a fair competition. The competition is all about finding the correct disparity and finding entertainment with people showing that the disparity in their skills is what matters. Oh, we need weight classes, blah blah blah, to regulate it. Yes, correct, but you can never control all the conditions. You can always try your best though, right? To create to create the fairest conditions for people to display skill and compete properly, but it's never about being fair, because if you're going to be fair, nobody wins, right? In any case, um, winning can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. So I always say, whenever somebody asks me like, "Oh my, like I'm going nowhere," blah blah blah, all that stuff, everybody's struggling with where they're going with life. I always say to them, "What is the path to victory? First, what is victory? Second, how do you achieve it?" Right? Um, this is very important. Very important thing to think about. You need to define what victory is to you, what winning is. When do you know you've won? So, I want to be an artist. What does that mean? What's the path to victory? What does artist mean to you? And often people don't know what that, like, they just kind of wing it, which is a problem. You're not supposed to wing this, should you? Like, so let's say being an artist, in your case, is drawing a masterpiece. And what do you define by masterpiece then? And say a piece that people can look at and say that's a masterpiece. In your case then, you want to create a piece that people, art connoisseurs, can look at and think is amazing. It's an admirable goal, or if some people would not consider it this good, and I'll get to it, but that's an admirable goal. Well, now the winning conditions are very clear. First, know what people are into. Second, know what you're good at. Three, how can you get these two to mix properly in such a way that people recognize that your skill is a masterpiece? Right? Other artists will be like, no, and I'm an artist, and I want the masterpiece to me is something I can look at and feel a jolt of pride and awe at for the fact that this came from me. Admirable, still another admirable goal. So your winning conditions are very clear. What you look at, what you find most pleasing in other art, and one you first try to replicate it in your own style, and see then if you can transcend the replica phase to something else. Your goals become clear. Who to kill in your head becomes clear, and I'm using like the terms I'm using, and I always use in my head, right? Which is very war focused. Who's the enemy? What's the path to victory? Stuff like that, right? Who to kill, and to me, who to kill is in the scenario of the artist is, what do I want and how can I get it? What does winning mean to me? And a lot of people miss on that. A lot of people steal other people's definitions of victory, and they think that's correct. And that that's the only way to do it, which honestly I horribly disagree with, right? So imagine this, like you go and you find somebody who wants to be a magician, and then they wear the magician hat and the magician face and the magician dab and learn all these things. And then you're looking, it's like, why are you doing all these things? And it's like, because I want people to think I'm a magician. Did you stop and think about this? And if you was that the answer? Is this what winning means to you? And then later you see them stopping being a magician or just owning the hat and whatever, and feeling empty inside. And which is why knowing what victory is to you and what winning is to you is very important, right? You feel hollow at doing things that you think you love. And whenever you think that you're going nowhere, you need to fix something, my advice is just stop and find out what winning means. And if you don't know, think on it. Talk to people. Look around. And once you know what it is, start dividing. Start, if you need to make an omelet, first you break the egg, then you put butter on the pan, and then you have to do this motion to flip it. And if you don't do that, well, chances are you're not going to get an omelet. There's always the misconception, right? Which is the creativity is something to be like that happens from the heart. It grows like a tree. Not really. A lot of things you can do that can grow like trees, but in the end, if you want an omelet, you want a result, you want to get something, you break the egg, put the butter on the pan, you cook it for this X amount of time, and then you flip it in a specific way, you close it on itself, maybe add a little bit of grass or whatever the fuck they add to the omelet, lemongrass and the rosemary and all those weird fucking leaves they use for cooking. You get an omelet. And then you eat it, and it's delicious. And I always use that, like, whenever I'm stuck in a mental and problem, especially related to the self and the creativity and the emotions, I always use real life tangible examples that are of close proximity to the event, that I apply clear answers to, and I use it to abstract an answer for something else, right? So in this case, that's how I inferred that what winning means is important for you to define. Just, okay, what does winning mean? How do I get an omelet? Very abstract comparison, but I think it's pretty rudimentary, pretty simple, pretty easy to understand. Anybody can do this. And in a how-to book, knowing what winning means to you is very important to me. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on the issue. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fancy stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.